Hi, this is Amanda from speakingenglishtoday.com, and I have some awesome vocabulary for you to use today. So if you would like to follow along with the lesson, you can download my worksheet in just go to the link in the description below and follow along with us. Either way, get ready because we are going to jump right into common phrases and professional phrases that you can use for the word take. All right, so in this English lesson, we're going to begin with the phrase take for granted. Take for granted. So, do you take things for granted? This means to fail to appreciate something. So you have great things in your life, things to be grateful for and thankful for. And if you don't really think about that, or you don't appreciate those great gifts in your life, then you are taking that for granted. So I remember when I was living in Florida, I actually grew up in Florida, and that's where I am today. And it is such a beautiful tropical place with many beaches, and it's has a lively city and many lively cities, and it's a really great place. A lot of people come from all over the world to visit here. But when I was young, I took it for granted. I didn't really appreciate all of the beauty and the beaches and everything around me. So now I try not to take it for granted. So, do you take things for granted? Try practicing this phrase by answering these questions. All right, the next word is take after. So, this is used quite a lot, especially when we're talking about our family. So, you take after people in your family. So, it's to have similar appearances or personalities as your parents or your grandparents. So for me, I really take after my dad because we look a lot alike. We have the same type of smile, and people, when they see me, they immediately know that he's my dad because we look so much alike. And the same is true for my brother. My brother takes after our dad too. So, who do you take after in your family? Next word is take apart. So this means to pull a thing apart into different pieces. So for example, if I took this mouse and I took it apart, that means I would pop off all of the little pieces and maybe even get some tools to open everything up, and then make this one mouse into many different pieces. And then that means I have taken the mouse apart. So, you know, I don't know if you have done this before, but I remember as a child, I would like to take things apart and see what was on the inside of them. So I once got in trouble because I took the remote to the TV. I took the remote apart and I could not put it back together again. I could not assemble it or make it whole again. So that remote didn't work anymore. So you probably shouldn't take things apart if they are not yours. So our next phrase is take in. I love this phrase, take in. So it means to really fully be in the moment and just enjoy everything around you, whether it be the sights that you see or the smells or the sounds. So this is usually when you use it when you're traveling, usually because you're in a new place and you want to take everything in. It's like you want to just experience all of it. So you're taking it in, you know. I remember When I was traveling to Japan for my first time, it was such an incredible experience. And I was only there for about a day. So I tried to take in as much as I could from that experience. So, when was a time that you really took everything in? Okay. Our next phrase is take on. And this is usually used in business English or in your workplace because it means to accept new responsibilities or challenges. And we really should be taking on things in our life, but not too much. So if you take on too much at work, then you could just end up just being too overloaded with work, and you just have way too much to do if you take on a lot of things. So on the other hand, if you take on a few things and you manage these things well, then that can look really good to the company that you're working for. It can look good for your boss. And so I would recommend that you take things on when you're at work, take on new responsibilities and challenges. So when was a time that you took on something, either at work or even helping out a friend with a project they might have been working on? Okay, so the next phrase is take up. So this is to begin and really get into a new hobby or sport. So you can take up a new hobby or you can take up a new sport. So for me, I have taken up a lot of hobbies in my life. And I remember when I was younger, I took up photography. I don't really still do photography now, but I really, really enjoyed it at the time. And so my question for you is, what have you taken up in your life? Next, take upon oneself to is our phrase. So take it upon myself to, or took it upon himself to. And this means to take the initiative to do something. And if you don't know what that means, that's basically, it means you do something without someone asking you to do it, and no one is expecting you to do it. You just decide to do it, to do some kind of it's like kind of like taking on a responsibility, pulling from another phrase that we just learned. So at my last job, I noticed that there was a challenge communicating with other teachers about students. And if you know me, I have been teaching English for about 10 years in many, many different situations. And I remember at one of my jobs, I took it upon myself to start making notes about students, and I put it in the class folder so that other teachers could see what notes I had written about the students. So that was something that was really useful, and other teachers liked that because they could see what problems there were in the class, what students needed help, and it was just a really, really valuable way of communicating. So what have you taken upon yourself to do at your workplace or maybe in your university or studies? Next is take it out on. Take it out on. So this is really negative, this this phrase. You do not want to take something out on someone. And it basically means that when you have a problem that causes you stress and there's someone else around you that has nothing to do with what the problem is and what is making you feel stressed, you then take that stress and you can maybe yell at that person, or you're mean to that person because you're stressed. They didn't do anything wrong. They had nothing to do with the problem, but just because you're stressed, you are not being nice to that person. So you don't want to take things out on other people. And I remember a long time ago, I've had a lot of different types of jobs in my life. I remember that I had a boss that when he got upset about something and we didn't know what it was or what had happened, if he was really stressed out, he would yell at us and take out his problems on us. So, my question for you is, has anyone taken out something on you, or have you taken something out on someone else? All right, my next one is take out. So this phrase can mean a lot of things, but we're going to focus on the meaning of bringing someone out on a date. So you can say that he took her out, or he took me out, or something like that. So to take someone out on a date. So you could say, like, for example, a guy could say, well, I took her out on a date last week, but it didn't go well. We had nothing to talk about. So have you ever taken out someone on a date? And if so, how did it go? Next is take off. And this can mean a lot of things, but today we're going to focus on the meaning of to leave or to go. So I'm going to take off. It means I'm going to go. So see you. Bye. No, not really. But so if you're going to leave, you could say, well, I'm going to take off. I'm going to take off. Or if you're talking about something that happened yesterday, you could say, oh, he just took off. And he just took off suddenly without saying anything. So he left suddenly without saying anything. Next is take into account. And this is our last phrase for today. So if you have gotten this far, give yourself a pat on the back. Congratulations. Excellent job on taking the steps to really improve your English. So I love this phrase, take into account. This means to consider, pay attention to, notice, or include something. So this is often used in business English or anytime that you're working on some kind of project. So when you're working on a project, maybe at work, there are many things that you need to take into account, things that you need to pay attention to or really think about. So when you're applying for a job, what do you need to take into account? All right. So again, my name is Amanda Lynn. If you want to get the worksheet for this and practice your own sentences, please go to the link down in the description below. And I hope you have an awesome day, an awesome week, and keep studying English and improve your fluency, vocabulary, pronunciation, and your overall confidence in your English. Thank you so much. Bye.